What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to bring you guys a Dinomist Performapal deck profile.
Don't lose your way, your mind, we have to be
So the main reason this deck came to be was way back when, from a friend of mine sent me a Dinomist core, and I have actually not gotten around to finishing it. It's like, much like Ritual Beast, it was a deck core that had just been sitting in my tins, unfinished. Finally got around to finishing it, mostly because stuff like this and the Toads kind of were. But I'm going to talk a little bit why I decided to play them with Performapals. Now, most Dinomist lists, you're probably used to seeing, some number of Brachion, Ceratops, and Ankylos. We're not doing that with this list. The main reason, I'm not the biggest fan of Brachion because it requires opponent interaction to do anything. So, and Ceratops, while it's a little bit better at the same time, Ceratops also is just a bridge to infinity, so I'm not a big fan of that. Like, Toad's just better in a lot of situations, and then Ankylos isn't bad. I tested it in this version, but it's not that good. So another card I'm actually thinking about testing. This is actually from Raging Tempest. This is Performapal Daggerman. If you don't know what it does, I'll go ahead and pull it up so you can read it. So during your main phase, if this card was activated this turn, you can target Performapal in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So it's sort of like a monkey board, except it adds from grave instead of deck. And then its monster effect is sort of like, if you know what Zodiac Throwblade does, it does the same thing. During your main phase, if this card was Pendulum Summoned this turn, you can send one Performapal from your hand to the graveyard, draw one card. So you could probably play a couple copies of this. It is a level 5, but I'm going to be testing it to see if I can find a room. But for now, I'm not running it, but it's definitely a card I am considering for the Performapal lineup. So with all that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get to the deck profile. Before I get too much further, I did take DDDs to locals last weekend, got top 4. If you guys would like to see the new list, because I did get a couple pot desires, let me know down in the comment section down below. First off, we have the 3 copies of Dinomist Rex. Rex is one of the probably the best attacking aggressive one. So all the Dinomists have different effects in the Pendulum Zone. The 6 scales have effects when a card is activated that targets another Dinomist card, and the 3 scales have effects that protect from destruction other than the card itself. So important thing to remember is that you kind of want to, if you have your charge up, you want to activate charges and put these in the Pendulum scale. But anyway, Rex's effect is when, if this card attacks, the end of the damage check, you choose one other Dinomist monster, then activate one of these effects. You can either attack again, another opponent's monster again, it has to be a monster, and it'll inflict piercing damage to your opponent if it attacks that monster in defense mode, or it can shuffle another one card of your opponent's hand at random or their side of the field into the graveyard, into the deck, and then it gains 100 attack. Pretty decent effects. It doesn't target. The second effect doesn't target. Remember, it can, depending on if you have a field full of Dinomists, this thing can completely wipe your opponent's board. And the fact that it does not target is really, really helpful. Non-target removal is always nice, and in fact, it can handle it pretty decent. You have the 3 copies of Dinomist Spinos. Spinos is actually kind of similar to Rex, except that it tributes during the main phase. So it has an effect. You contribute one other Dinomist monster and activate one of these effects. This card can attack your opponent directly this turn, and you can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Really important is that you can activate both effects in the same turn. It's not a hard once per turn. So you can get a lot of sneaky OTKs with this if you pump it up with your Performapals and then attack them for like 8k direct per game. It's pretty neat, pretty good card. I like it at 3. Then 3 copies of Dinomist Performapal. I always call them Terry. So Terry is basically sort of like your searcher for the deck. Whenever it destroys opponent's monster by battle, you can add one Dinomist card from deck to your hand. Most of the time you're going to be searching Charge, but you can search Dinomist monsters, you can search Rush and Howling when we do get it. Terry's pretty much a staple 3. And the last 3 Dinomists we play are the Plesios. Plesios' effect is all face-up monster your opponent controls is 100 attack and defense for each Dinomist card you control, which is really important because your Dinomists tend to be small, which is why I'm playing with them before Performapals in the first place. An important thing also to remember is the effect does stack. So say you have 2 of these just chilling, sitting out, while you have Charge and 2 cards of Pendulum Zone. That's 5 cards total, so all your opponent's monsters lose 1,000 attack. Really good card, staple at 3. And now if we get to the Performapal side of the deck, we have the 3 copies of Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. Main reason this deck even functions, one of the best cards in this, in one of the best Pendulum cards ever. If it's when it's special summon, typically you're going to use this to pop like a Dinomist, then pop another card to search, and it will trigger your charge to add the card right back. It has a lot of synergy with this deck, and Sorcerer is obviously no good. One copy of Joker. Joker, most of the time you're going to be searching this off of Pendulum Sorcerer. You're normal summon it, search more stuff. So then you know, I think most of you guys have seen most of these cards with the 2 Lizard Draw, 1 Gi Turtle. This is the Pot of Greed combo. A lot of times you don't really need more than 1 Gi Turtle because you're just going to let it sit in the scale. It lets you draw more cards every turn. Lizard Draw lets you draw if you have another Form Pal on the other scale. Pretty decent. Now for the kind of every time where it gets a little bit wacky. So now we're going to talk about the attack modifier. So we have the 1 Drummerilla, the 1 part Naga, the 2 Shell Crabs, and the 1 Radish Horse. So I'm gonna go briefly over all these cards. So Drummerilla has a very similar effect when it's in the Pendulum Zone or it's on the field. You can actually, when an attack is declared involving a monster you control, an opponent's monster, you can have target that monster and it gains 600 attack. Really good effect. I like it as a 1-of. It is a level 5, so you can make rank 5s with it. Really important. The other thing is that if you just leave it just chilling over here in the Pendulum Zone, your opponent will typically forget it's there. A lot of times you can take advantage of the fact that people just, because most people don't play these Performapals, people just do not read cards, so it's really important. Part Naga has a similar effect to Crab in that its Pendulum effect allows you to target one face-up monster you control. It gains 300 attack for every Performapal you currently control until the end of the turn. It has a very similar effect when it's normal summon, except the important thing to remember is it prevents level 5 or lower monsters from attacking. It has a continuous effect. So a lot of times with Naga, one of the things I'll do is I'll Pendulum summon it out, pump out my monster, then make a rank 5 with it, so it's important to remember. Crab is a Pendulum effect that when a Performapal monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can target Performapal or Odd Eyes card in your Pendulum Zone and special summon it. Doesn't come up that much, but I guess if you really need a wall, it's okay. But the main thing you care about is when it's on the field, you can target one Pendulum monster you control, and it'll gain 300 attack for each Performapal monster you control until the end of the turn. It's also level 5 water, so if you want to play stuff like Abyss Splash or other rank 5s that require water monsters, this card's pretty decent. Radish Horse kind of has similar, Radish Horse can special summon itself when your opponent controls a special summon monster, and at least as many monsters as you do. So basically it's sort of like a Cyber Dragon. But it has an effect that allows you to reduce opponent's monsters both in the Pendulum Zone and on the field, so that really helps, and then that attack gets gained. And then it's sort of like a Dark Rebellion for Pals, but it's not the best card because it is only really good going second. But you know, I like it in here. And for the last 2 monsters, we have 2 copies of Archfiend Eccentric. Main reason is in here is I have the Performapal, so I can Pendulum summon it. I do have a pretty hefty, high amount of 2 scales. And Eccentric obviously allows you to clear back row before you make a big push. Then for the spells, we have these 3 copies of Dinomist Charge. Charge is basically your tanky of the deck. Upon activation, it is mandatory. You can add 1 Dinomist monster from your deck to your hand. So, and once per turn, if a Dinomist card is added from your field to the extra deck, face up, add 1 of those cards to your hand. It is a mandatory effect. It's effect as well. It's important to remember. So, but a lot of times, in the way your Dynamis, since they do protect themselves in the Pendulum Zone, say your opponent, you want to activate the Dynamis first before you activate this, because if they try to chain Twin Twister, you can just chain the effect in response. That's really good. Of course, it's Dynamis, so 2 copies of Instant Fusion. Honestly, I might consider playing 3 of this card. It's that good. Allows you to go into Norden and Panzer Dragon, which allows you to make, you know, Toad and Infinity. So that's always nice. Cards are really good. I like them a lot. Then the 2 MSTs, obviously, you don't play Twin Twisters in this deck because you can't afford to pitch resources. You only have 2 cards in your entire deck that can recycle resources. That's Toad and Gygusto Emerald. So it's really important to play MST. Or you could also play Cosmic Cyclone. And then 2 Ignite Reloads, and the Upstart for our draw power. Obviously, Performapals and Dynamists have their own kind of Ignite Reloads in the form of Moray, Greed, and Performapal Recasting, but Ignite Reload is just generic. Important thing to remember is Ignite Reload will prevent you from drawing after it resolves, so a lot of times what I'll do is you have to do all your Performapal draw cards first before you activate this. And Upstart Goblin is just 39 cards. They help a lot with consistency. Then for the last spell, we have the 1 Regeki. Since we do play Abyss Dweller, it often helps to clear our opponent's board, and their monsters won't float. And for the traps, we keep it pretty simple with this. We have the 2 Dynamist Rush and the 1 Emptiness. this was on my previous build. In my other build, this was a D barrier, and the Radish Horse was also a D barrier. So Vanities is obviously, though this and Barrier are probably the most ignorant cards in the game right now. Rush is like, if you don't know what Rush does, it allows you to special summon Dinomist from your deck, but it's destroyed during the end phase. But the key thing is it's unaffected by card effects, so you can help you to power through back row. And a lot of times your opponents just, because you're playing a deck that's not very commonly see play, your opponent won't read your card and they'll try to Castell your Dynamist or whatever. And then now for the extra deck, because we do play a hefty amount of level 4 waters, we have the 2 Bahamut Sharks and the 2 Totally Awesome. Toad is, the reason you play 2 Bahamut and Toad is because usually off the first Toad, you're going to recycle whatever you detached off your Bahamut Shark, and then you can summon the second one. The second ones, both of these do come up, because the second Toad, you'll just put the other one back. But obviously these cards are really good, and this comes up a lot more than Infinity, honestly, because you don't have Ceratops and Brachion in this particular list. Then the 1 Abyss Dweller. Dweller is absolutely amazing in this deck because it allows you to pump up all your water monsters. Honestly, if I had room in this extra, I'd play 2, but extra space is really tight. The 1 Dagusto Emerald, like I said earlier, this card's really important because you don't play a lot of cards that recycle resources, and being able to cycle monsters back in the deck and all draw cards is always nice. And you do play a lot of extra deck cards that require other cards to be summoned. So of course we have the Utopia package. We do play a lot of smaller monsters, so Utopia is probably, obviously, you know, if you play Ring 4s and you can go into this, you probably play it. We have the 1 Volcasaurus. This is really good because you can being able to burn your opponent and then stack a Gaia Dragon on top of it is always nice. Volca's pretty much a staple in here. Then we have the 1 Artifact Durandal. To be honest, this is usually make this when you can make a rank 5, but you want to lock your opponent down, but you can't play and make Infinity. This card functions really well. Then of course it's Dynamist. So we're playing the 1 Nova and the 1 Infinity. Honestly, like the second one doesn't come up that much in this build because I don't play Ceratops and Brachion. If you're playing pure Dynamists, you can probably play this too, but I just don't have room in this extra deck. You know, the 1 Gaia Dragon, this usually you'll stack this on top of your Infinity, or on top of your Volcasaurus to make, and being able to pierce is always nice. And for our instant fusion targets, of course, we have the 1 Norden and the 1 Panzer Dragon. Even if Norden was banned, I'd still play instant fusion because you can just play rare fish instead. Most of the time, these guys are here because sometimes you just need another level 4 to climb into your Bahamut Shark or Infinity. And Norden allows you, and if you have a play for make 1 Bahamut, you can make another with Toad, which is really good. Alright, that comes to the end of the deck profile today. I hope you guys all enjoyed this deck profile. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if you would like to see the updated DDD deck profile, let me know down below and I will profile it for you guys. So anyways, as always guys, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. So Orstorm, signing out.